There we go. Alright, there we go. Alright. Welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals to the stream in the tavern. Rage and Bacon here from the village. Yes, we appreciate you from the village. Welcome. And thank you, Matterubar 420 for joining the tavern. Grab yourself a mug of ale and all that jazz. And pull up a chair. Enjoy the tales. Remember you from this week. Here to show the left back. Awesome. That is great. That is great.
My room is missing.
What's missing?
1 second. Rose, knock it off.
Rose. No. Knock it off, Rose.
What?
Yeah, it's always going to be fun. With us today, give me a second. Let me change me to voice activity there so that someone can hear me. Is my partner in crime, CandidGamera. Oh, they can't hear you. Give me a second. Repeat that. I had you muted.
I just said, hey, how's the new place?
Yeah, as you can tell, the new place is still unpacking.
Yeah.
We are still unpacking the new place. Lots to do.
Don't even start with me.
Oh my god. What's up, my man? Unpacking, mostly.
Quit playing and eat. No, you don't do that. You use one piece of
Lots of
silverware
plants.
to eat.
Oh my god, yeah, there are plants everywhere.
Looks like you guys have a lot of space.
Mine.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
Oh, they're seeing the ones in the kitchen.
Yeah, they're seeing the ones in the
nothing.
kitchen. That's nothing. My
Rotate
kitchen
the
table is
camera the other
consumed
way.
by plants.
Rotate the camera that way.
Oh yes, this is my mug. Rage and Bacon, this is my mug.
Rose, eat.
Ah.
Do you want? If they want to say ridiculous for another place, go that way.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to do that while the kids are eating.
Yeah, who cares?
Okay, fair enough.
They're eating. Focus on your food.
Alright, so that... Oh, if I could fix my camera and not screw things up. That's more of the plants.
Wow. Gonna have quite the garden.
My
Yeah.
hobby.
My wife's hobby.
Eat.
Very much my wife's hobby.
Eat and put plants.
Oh, they love their food.
No, you don't get your mouth back into the dinner.
So this is the new setup. The table, you never saw our
Knock it
old
off.
table, did you, Gamera?
No.
I
Off
don't
the table.
believe so, no.
fighting.
No, but you did see it in the Charles Avenue place.
Quit
Yes.
fighting and eat.
Alright,
One
so you remember how
piece of
small
work at a
that
time.
table, like how big that table was in that room compared to everything
Yes.
else? Rage and Bacon, thank you for feeding 100 biddies to our wonderful little owlbear. He is going to be well fed today. Have to get back to work. Okay, man, good luck to you. Best of luck, man. I appreciate
Eat your dinner.
I appreciate it, man. So, enjoy the bacon bits. Oh yeah, the owlbear will love them. What was I saying?
The
The
Charles
table.
Avenue
The Charles
place,
Avenue
table.
place. Yeah. So you remember how big the table was in the
not
Charles
drop it on
Avenue
the floor.
place? Here,
Yeah.
it's tiny.
That's, yeah, that's very nice.
Welcome, traveler.
Thank you, Rage and Bacon, for the follow. You have a great day,
Do
man.
not throw food.
Thank you for grab yourself a mug of
Eat
ale,
like a big boy.
pull up a chair, enjoy the tales.
You do that again,
Yeah,
I
this
swat
dining
you
room
up.
is huge. All right, it's big enough that the table easily fits into it, and like all the chairs can fit around it, and my computer desk.
Eat.
Outstanding.
Do not do that again.
Like we are
Eat
going to
like a
have
big boy.
hella Dnd time here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's gonna be great for gaming.
Oh yeah.
Do that
Oh,
one
I am
more time and
echoing
watch what
myself. I forgot about that. I need to fix that.
happens. Eat. Put it in your mouth. and go.
Display 1. Thank you.
Eat. Rose, finish your food.
So, yeah, it's going to be excellent for D&D time because, like, I'll have my access to my computer for notes and stuff like that, but I'll have everybody around the D&D table I could
We'll
put...
be on the couch.
Anne will be on the couch because of her joints.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of those who are still watching, I'm not sure how well this is going to work, that's my view.
Moo.
Oh, wow.
Moo. Are you happy now? My backyard neighbors are cows.
Yes.
I've already been informed I'm not allowed to perform flyby beef. Ow.
to do that.
So, yeah, we have like a just giant view. The
Beautiful.
porch goes into what's going to be the back deck when we get it built.
Yeah.
So
Or
that's
just
going to be
keep
great.
small children from flying out the door.
Right now we just have a big wooden board to keep kids from,
Eat your dinner now.
falling to their doom.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes we seriously debate that.
Because it's like 8 to 10 feet off the ground.
Danny's window's
Yep.
about 7.5 foot off.
Yeah, so it's not like, no, let's not do this.
Yeah, that would be a risky risky configuration.
It's like, yeah, pass.
And then I
Oh, man.
Not going out your window.
So I had a talk with a mutual friend of ours over dinner,
Uh-huh.
and to get us on the topic of D&D stuff. And he tells me you guys are playing 5e over at your place.
I do have one of my players who is running 5th edition, yeah.
And I gave him some suggestions on some common spells that can be used in unique ways.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may have heard of some of these, or you may not have. Have you heard of why DMs do a modification to Conjure Animals?
No.
Oh, you're going to love this. All right.
They must be conjured on a solid surface.
So the modification most DMs do that. They say the ruling is any animal you summon has to be on the ground.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Now here's purify food and water. Oh God, purify food and water.
Let's go.
In 5th ed,
no.
purify
You're
food and
on
water
bed.
can change alcohol to water
Okay.
because alcohol counts as a poison in 5th ed.
That makes sense, sure.
Yeah, it's just like, wait, what? All right, that's neat. But no, with Conjure Animals, you have to. The DM changes. You have to summon the animals on the ground, and here's the reason behind it. Conjure Animals is a 3rd level spell that can only be cast by druids. Okay.
Right.
Any creature you summon with it is not an actual animal. It is some sort of fey spirit taking on the appearance of an animal.
Eat your
Natural.
food.
All right. So when it dies, you're not performing an evil act when it dies.
Right.
All right. So it has a range of 60 feet.
Yeah.
Oh no, it also turns other fluids into water. Puffin Forest has an amazing story about it. Oh no. I'm afraid. Anyway, so you summon the cow 60 feet in the air. Okay? Now, Alright, so the way Conjure Animal works is they assume you're going to summon like a wolf or some sort of CR2 animal and you only get like 1 or 2 of them.
Danny, eat.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
No.
You summon a cow. A cow,
Cow. CR what? 1/2?
1/4.
Oh no.
Yes, cow is a CR 1/4 animal. You can summon 8 of them with a single casting of the spell.
Uh-huh.
Cow weighs close to a ton.
Yep.
Falling for every 10 feet it falls, it does 1d6 damage.
Yep.
So falling 60 feet, you're doing 6d6 damage for each cow.
And
Yep.
cows cover an
So
area.
6 times 8 is what?
48.
48. So you're doing 48 d6 damage
And it's an AoE.
over an area. And it does a wider area and more damage than Meteor Swarm, which is a fucking nuke.
Yeah. As a GM, I probably would say that any human-sized individual is not going to get hit by more than one of those cows. But
That's
you
true.
could spread lots of damage over an area, or if it was a large creature, it could get pummeled by more than one of the cows, like if you dropped it on a dragon.
Are you done?
Easy, don't stand in the cow-shaped AoE marker. This is also true.
Eat your food.
But here's the kicker. It's only a 3rd level spell.
Yeah.
You know how 5th ed does spells, where they like to upcast things?
Oh, God.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Stop.
When you upcast Conjure Animals, it increases the number of animals you summon. When you upcast it to a 5th level spell, it doubles it. If you upcast it to a 7th level spell, it triples it. And if you upcast it to a 9th level spell, it could quadruples the amount of animals you get.
Yep.
So instead of 8 cows, you now get 32 cows.
Yep.
And if you pick a space that a cow is already in, it summons it above it. Like, right above.
Okay.
According to the rules as written.
So you could have a nice totem pole stack of cows.
And literally drop them all on one person.
Yep.
48 cows dropping from 60 feet.
Well, I would say that if you have 48 cows atop each other, then that's going to be higher than 60 feet at the top.
Yeah, but you get my point.
Yes, I do.
Each cow doing 66 damage. It's like, fuck this guy in particular.
It's a cowtastrophe.
That goes above
Now,
60
the
feet.
video I saw it on referred to it as these bovine rods of God.
Okay.
Invisible Mooney Man, way to milk the damage charts.
On a related note for falling damage, we in our most recent session, we had ended the previous session sort of as a fighting withdrawal from this raid on a fortress, and there was a manticore in the fortress amongst other enemies, and it flew out after us, and we were on fumes for hit points. So we ran out, we did our stealth checks, we're trying to hide, and it spotted us, and I had a plan for this.
Uh-oh.
So I tried to ask, the GM how high the manticore is flying, because we were in a wooded area, and so it's flying over the tree canopy. And I was hoping for it being up to like 100 feet or so, because that would have been even better. But I think we ended up with that at 40 feet. And basically, as he came towards us and we heard him roar in recognition that he'd found us, I was like, alright, I'm going to use my remaining 3rd level spell slot for Hypnotic Pattern. Hit the manticore with Hypnotic Pattern, which reduces its speed to 0, which for a flying winged creature that doesn't have a hover speed makes it instantly fall from the sky.
Oh.
So, I was able to use Hypnotic Pattern to do actual damage. Just doom.
Alright, so here's another spell that you may know. Do you know the spell Sickening Radiance?
I've seen it, but I don't remember having read it in detail.
Alright, so the spell Sickening Radiance is you create a cloud, and it does radiant damage. And it's a green cloud.
Okay, so sort of like the old stinking cloud, maybe, but radiant damage?
Yes, it's radiant damage. You have to make a fortitude save when you're in it. If you fail the fortitude save, you take half damage. Oh, no, not half damage. If you've passed the fortitude save, you take half damage.
Right.
If you fail the fortitude save, you take full damage, and you get a point of exhaustion. A level of exhaustion. So what you do is, you, as a cleric or wizard or whoever gets the spell, you cast it. Alright? Combine it with a druid who casts Thorn Ground, or whatever that spell is called. It's one where you create thorns all over the ground.
Okay.
And you lower their movement. And you finish up this combo with the spell Slow. So now they're only moving 5 feet around. And that's all they can do every round, is move.
Yeah.
Then when they get towards out of the the Sickening Radiance, you can use some sort of shove action or shove spell to push them back into it.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed to kill whatever target you're dealing with. Alright? Because, let's be brutally honest, Sickening Radiance is essentially radiation.
Yeah.
It's green, it glows, it gives you exhaustion points, and it kills you very slowly.
Nice.
Come on, over here. Over here.
It's like, oh boy.
No jumping, come over here. In front of mom. No, stand up in front of mom.
Where are you?
Let's see. I'm trying to remember.
Sort of. Let me turn it this way some. There you go. Had to turn the camera just a hair.
Yeah.
What other fun spells did I learn in 5th Ed that was kind of fun? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Heat metal.
Oh yeah, heat metal's been a classic for years.
Oh my god. The
yes.
bacon book. I've heard it referred to as bacon book.
Yeah.
It's just basically be a bard or a sorcerer or whatever, and be on a mount. Because in 5th ed, it just requires concentration to maintain the spell.
Right.
And you stay within range of the spell, maintaining concentration, doing 2d8 damage every round to someone in heavy armor.
Yeah.
It's like, have a nice day. Unless you're immune to fire, you're not going to have fun.
Yeah, heat metal, I mean, I remember doing amazing things with it situationally back in 2nd edition. It's just like, if the right circumstances come up, you can absolutely screw over an opponent because...
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
How do you deal with it?
Other than, like, magically strip yourself in seconds.
Yeah. If you're like somebody that's in full plate armor, you're just cooked.
It's like... Or give yourself some way to, give yourself, like, the ability to have at least 16 points of fire resistance.
Well, in 5th edition, you've either got resistance or immunity. There's not even points. It's just, resistance is half damage.
Yeah, at that point, you're screwed.
Unless you're a caster with, like, Dispel magic or something, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Matt, our friend Matt told me about the idea of getting Find Familiar on a scroll down. I was like, that's a good idea.
Yep.
Like, that was a clever idea. Give multiple people familiars who don't normally get the spell.
Yeah, our party cleric took that, and she's got a couple of extras for when the familiar inevitably dies, but it has been just a fantastic scouting tool for us.
Oh, yeah.
Just awesome to have that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be. I mean, I would be abusing the crap out of that. I'd just be like...
I also worked out with the party some, like, whistle signals, and I bought everybody one of the signal whistles, so, like, if somebody needs help, they can whistle us a pattern, and we all converge on them. But I made sure to make the whistle patterns things that the owl could reproduce, so she could actually use it to remotely send that message if she had to.
Oh, that's helpful. That is super helpful.
Yeah, I'm really, really impressed with the Find Familiar's utility. Like I said, mainly as a scout or spy. There are some limitations just because it's basically as intelligent as a normal animal of its kind, but there are ways to work around that a little bit for certain things.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I've ended up having to take on minor jobs online where people have had me help them build 5th ed characters.
Sure.
And that's been a little fun. It's taught me a lot about 5th ed.
Mm-hmm.
The kookiest build I've done was the Barbarian Warlock build.
Barbarian Warlock?
There's a story behind it. Alright, let me fix my camera now, because the boy is gone. Alright, so this guy wanted to play a Barbarian. But he wanted to have the Hexblade weapon.
Uh-huh.
And he wanted to be a two-handed weapon. He didn't really care for the spellcasting too much. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but he wanted to be able to make a pact with his ancestor.
Gotcha.
And that's how he got his pact weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I had to help him build. And, like, yeah, he has some, I think they're called invocations. He has a few invocations that are focused on getting a two-handed weapon for his, Hexblade and all that jazz. He does have Eldritch Blast when he's not raging.
Yeah.
And it's there just to poke at someone from a distance.
I'm going to be honest, Eldritch Blast is amazing. It is better than any other ranged weapon that we've come across. I'm really tempted for my bard to pick it up.
Yeah, it's a good... I gotta say, it's one of the best cantrips in the game.
Yeah, I would say that it... in terms of damaging cantrips, absolutely, it's top tier.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying, it's not the utility cantrip. It is definitely
right.
the combat cantrip.
Yeah.
So there is that. The other build I did which was also a Warlock build, which was 15 levels of Paladin, 5 levels of Warlock.
Paladin Lux, yeah. I've heard those are popular.
Yeah, and the big reason behind that was you only have to focus on 2 stats.
Charisma and Con, basically?
Charisma and Con. Because if you play a Hexblade, your damage stat and your attack stat suddenly become Charisma.
Mm-hmm.
Which helps a lot.
Yeah.
Hi, Rose.
Yeah, being able to...
What, Rose?
I can hear you from my room.
Okay, go to bed.
Can you be quieter a little?
What?
Can you be a little quieter?
I will try. Now go to bed. My daughter was complaining I was being too loud.
Well, we'll try to keep it down.
It's more of me, but yeah.
But yeah, if I understand correctly, Paladin Smites can use spell slots from any class that Paladin has, and Warlocks regain their spell slots on a short rest. So, Hexblade Paladin just becomes a smite machine.
That is very true. The way I built this guy, though, he was a 2-handed weapon, great weapon master, a few other fun things. I went with Oathbreaker because he's supposed to be a villain. The guy who asked me to do it wanted a villain to scare the party with, but not outright kill them.
Sure.
And so he has 15 levels of Paladin, 5 levels of Warlock that I completed the build with. And I told him he could pick him at any level because I gave him what he is at every level.
Sure.
Just to make sure that, everything is fair. You alright?
Yeah, I just have to go medicate a kid's skin.
Oh, that's always fun. At level 20, when he walks up and smites someone, he is doing, on average, not max, on average, 154 damage.
Yeah.
So the DM used him to walk up to the party's barbarian, slap him really hard, and scared the poop out of everyone.
Basically, drop or nearly drop the barbarian right there.
He brought the barbarian down to 7 HP.
Yeah.
And it was a Totem of the Bear barbarian. So that was half damage. And the barbarian was like, fuck! He was like, he literally just apparently lost his shit. And I was like, okay. That works.
Accomplished.
Yep, that worked out great. But the one I talked with Matt about that I wish I knew what your friends did was someone who was playing a ranger. And their goal was to create as many creatures on the field as possible.
Okay.
Like, they were going for, like, Pokemon Master, Pet Master build.
Gotcha.
And that was kind of their end goal. And I didn't know about the Find Familiar scroll. Right. Yes, Wizen, we're in the new house. We are in the new house. It is glorious. But, yeah. So how are you finding 5th edition?
I'm really enjoying it. I tend to prefer Pathfinder just because I love all the little bells and whistles and things that I can tweak. But 5th edition has enough crunch to satisfy me. I will say that the campaign we're in is fairly combat focused, so my lore bard is not necessarily optimized, but you know what? It's fine for me to be the guy that fills in all of our skill gaps.
Which that helps.
And I do have a nice selection of save or suck type spells. I mentioned Hypnotic Pattern, which is fantastic. Tasha's Uncontrollable Hideous Laughter is also really solid. Dissonant Whispers, Vicious Mockery. One of the ones I'm looking to pick up when we level up is Enemies Abound, which I think is from Xanathar's. But it's basically you pick a target and they have to make an int save, and if they fail, they perceive everyone in the area as an enemy, and therefore whenever they attack, there's like basically a 50-50 chance that they attack one of their allies that they now perceive as an enemy. which if you can get that off on like the big brute enforcer on a big group of enemies, you're just golden. And int saves tend to be terrible for that kind of enemy.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Wyson, thank you for the compliment on the kitchen. We're still unpacking it, though.
It's a nice kitchen island, too. Plenty of storage.
Oh, yeah, the island is going to be amazing. We're going to love it.
But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think we've got an interesting party. In addition to myself playing the half-elven lore college bard, we've got a half-elven cleric of the sun. So she's got access to fireball, which is nice.
Oh, that's always handy.
We have a Genasi monk, who is our absolute, frontline fighter / he can be across the battlefield in an instant.
All right, so you said you went lore bard.
Yes.
I mean, just how open is some? Looking for a place, and kitchens are absolutely. This kitchen is ginormously huge, and it has a decent amount of counter and cupboard space. I will say that. So you said you're playing lore bard, and you just mentioned, you said sun cleric.
Yep.
So the next person, you said monk. What kind of monk?
A Genasi monk. I think it's the elemental one. I forget the exact title. But basically,
okay. Yeah, the one that a lot of people made the joke that it's trying to mimic Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes.
But it eats through ki, though, so fast.
It does, but honestly, he can do bursts of activity that are just essential. Like in the fights that we've had, the big boss was trying to get away, and he was like halfway across the field, and we're like, hey, monk, disengage with the Minotaur. You go after that guy. And so he did a move, a dash action, and then a bonus action to dash again with Step of the Wind, and he was just there. He was literally on the other side of the boss cutting him off. So just having that option is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And then Matt's character in that one is a warlock, statted as a tiefling. His character's background is basically he's a cursed human, but he is a tiefling warlock.
I had a similar idea for the story, too. I was going to go with a cursed human that was turned into a tiefling.
Yeah, his background is that his character found like a book that has demonic forces bound into it, and basically the process of kind of sealing it with his own power has tainted his flesh, and thus he appears to be like a tiefling outside observers.
Cool. I'm Blade Advent just went. I'm sad I really never got the opportunity to fully dive into monk stuff in my last game. And Wisen's like, monks have so much mobility. They've always had so much mobility.
Yeah. And honestly, that's fantastic to have in a party. If you say, hey, go long, and they can run 40 yards down the field to intercept the bad guy. Having that ability.
I've only seen one class beat monk in mobility. Only one. And that was Soul Knife from 3.5.
Oh, holy shit. Do you remember Psychic Warrior from 3.0?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, Soul Knife, I had someone who played a Soul Knife, alright? In 3.5. By the time he finished building his character, which was like level 14-ish, I want to say?
Yeah.
He could run 3,090-something feet around.
That seems extreme.
That was with magic items, that was with certain feats and certain psychic powers activated. Like, the whole shebang.
I think maybe some stacking rules were maybe misread there.
No. They were all from different sources. That was the problem.
Yeah, but to get to 3,000 feet, I imagine there's some multipliers, not just flat adds.
It was all multipliers, because the way it worked was one of the psychic powers he took allowed him to mimic a monk's movement speed as his base.
Mm-hmm.
And that was and his level counted as a monk's level when he activated it.
Right.
So At level 14, I forget what their movement speed was, but that's what we're multiplying from.
Right.
Each one was either a double or so on and so forth. He went with the Boots of Striding and Springing.
Sure.
All right, it's a good setup there.
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
All right, so he went with that. Then he had another psychic power that he had to activate, which doubled his movement. I think that was the one that doubled his movement. He had the run feat, which was times 5 his movement.
Okay. Well, the run feat doesn't multiply your movement by 5. It changes the multiplier for running from 4 to 5.
Right, that's what
when
I'm
you're
saying.
running. Okay.
So his action was to run. It wasn't just a movement action was 3,000 feet. His run was 3,000 feet.
I gotcha.
And I'm trying to remember this all, but you gotta try to remember this was like the early 2000s, so
Sure.
my memory's a little fuzzy. I'm trying to remember.
I'm thinking that there might be in D&D 3.5, if you double a double, it's not quadruple, it's triple.
Triple, right.
So times 5 run, doubled and doubled would be times 7.
Yeah.
Not times 20. So we just have a ways to go to get to 3,000. So that's what I was trying to figure out.
I'm trying to remember everything he used, and I cannot remember it. I just remember it by the time he finished, it was like 3,000 feet around was a full run action for him.
Yeah.
And it was just ridiculous.
I loved the Psychic Warrior, though, because they as long as they had Psychic Focus, there were feats you could take, and they could, like, run on walls and things.
Oh my god, that was ridiculous. It was like crazy ninja power.
And honestly, you remember Hidalgo Gonza from your short-lived Game of Thrones game, the all-terrain bard?
Yep. Sass Queen 1012 was like, ooh, D&D. Sorry, I just focused on what was going on. I was like, that's okay. Wisen's like, I've always played as though multipliers were additive with each other, not multiplicative. And that's, for the most part, how you do it.
Yeah, multipliers get dangerous really quickly. And honestly, on the topic of movement speed, I probably have another anecdote there that I can share. But to finish off the 5th edition party, the last member we have is a Drow Bardadin, so part Bard, part Paladin, which is also kind of fun.
That's a good combo.
Yeah, she's got a lot of good utility spells. Her Drow abilities come in handy, and just being able... We've got 2 bards, so every time we take a short rest and want to spin hit dice, we can do Song of Rest and get plenty of extra juice out of them.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's definitely a thing to do. Damn. And you guys are never running low on inspiration.
No, especially me, because we started the campaign at 5th level, which is what level we're at. So I've got all my inspiration back on a short rest. Now, she's got 3 paladin levels and 2 bard levels, so she still only regains inspiration on a long rest, but she'll get there.
Oh yeah. I've made a multitude of characters for 5th Ed just to try out the system.
Yep.
And I did try running a 5th Ed game called Wild Island. And sadly, I told that story how that ended.
Yeah, I remember it did not go the way you planned quite.
Yeah. The problem with Wild Island, I will say, is like, it is... Like, you have 2 aspects to the game. You have exploring and survival.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to the players to decide how much of either they want.
Yeah.
And everybody really has to be on the same page.
Yes. I mean, see, I would totally dig that, especially if it was like a hex crawl style exploration game.
The island is hexed.
Yeah.
And you can find resources on the island and stuff to help you survive easier.
And I think that kind of game is classic and fun, but you do have to have the whole party that's on board with that. And, you got to cover that, of course, in your session 0. But I think that kind of game has sort of become less popular these days. And so even if someone says, "Oh yeah, that sounds great," in session 0, it might behoove you to kind of further explain it, just like, so, this is what a typical adventure would look like, just to kind of go into detail. That way they can go, "Oh, you know what? Maybe I would get bored with that," or, "Oh, well, could we work in some other stuff as well?"
Well, the kooky thing is, I got a hold of a book that was written for 5th Ed. That is a third-party book.
Okay.
All right. Do you know the game Monster Hunter in Monster Hunter World? Like that series?
I haven't played them, but I've seen clips and stuff, and I know the premise, yeah.
All right. Someone wrote a 5th Ed book for Monster Hunter.
Okay.
And statted out all the monsters.
Yeah.
As well as a harvesting system.
Okay.
And how to turn some of those monster parts and add them to your weapons and armor to make your weapons and armor the equivalent of magical items without actually being magical.
Gotcha.
So, like, it's a cool kind of idea. Like, I think it's kind of neat because it's like you're using your environment to help you.
Sure.
But it's just like the monsters I found were not overly hard. Some of them were easy. Some of them are much harder in D&D than they are in the actual game.
Okay.
I found. Like, there's one monster in Monster Hunter World called... it could be a fun little... for a quick one-off if you need to kill a little time. Yeah, Monster Hunter World could be fun for that. But, like, Monster Hunter World has some big monsters. One of them is called... And I'm probably mispronouncing this because there's like 8 pronunciations for this damn monster. Puke. Alright?
Okay. Great name.
Give me a second. I'll look it up. Monster Hunter World. There you go. Puke. I will share an image of him on the screen here in a second. Here we go. I don't know how well it's going to show on the stream. Puke. Yeah, okay. Let's see if I could just go open image in new tab. There we go. That'll be better. It's Chameleon Frogbird. Wow. Hi, Rose. Go to bed. I can hear you. I see you. Bye-bye.
Wow, that's... yeah.
A common joke made for this little dude is, what that tongue do? So, you notice the little lollipop tail thing that it has?
Yeah.
It spits poison out of it.
Outstanding.
It also pukes poison out of its mouth in globs.
Pukey.
Yep. So, in non-D&D, this thing is not terrible. Because there's a lot of ways to negate poison in Monster Hunter World. Not so much in 5th Ed, especially at early levels.
Yeah, I think if you incorporated this, you'd probably have to add some kind of anti-poison herbs or something.
Yeah, he is not a high-level challenge rating. I think he's like level... I think he's a CR5.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all he is like a CR5 or CR6 maybe. And that's it. So you could run into him pretty early.
Yep.
And good God, will he go to town on your party if you're not careful. Total undercon, yeah. They underrated how much devastating this little bugger is. It's like, shit, man. But then there were some monsters they overrated.
Yeah, you've got some different underlying assumptions about what kind of damages are good and bad. So that doesn't terribly surprise me.
Yeah. Like, one of the monsters in the game is a flaming T-Rex.
Okay.
Yeah,
kind of metal?
Oh, sort of. See if I can find a good picture. There we go. Open image in new tab. Can I get one where his little wing flap things on his back are open? Because that's really fucking weird. Always trying to find that. Probably tried to stack them with similar to the game Puki Puki is an early monster. Yeah, that's true. Oh, here we go. Alright, so that's Anjanath when you first see him. Looks like a T-Rex.
Yeah.
That is a shitty quality picture, and I really am not happy with that. Alright, put those over there, Rose. I guess I could use Fulgur Anjanath as an example. I don't like it, but I'll deal with it. Let's see if Fulgur Anjanath... Nope, Fulgur Anjanath sucks. So is the Fire T-Rex boy. Yeah, he's pretty early. So this is like the lightning version of him. But he has these wing flaps that come out when he wants to breathe fire. Go to bed.
Nice.
Yeah, and he can one-shot you in the game.
Okay.
In Monster Hunter.
Right.
In D&D, he uses the most common damage type. Which is fire.
Yeah.
He does either fire or bludgeoning or piercing damage. That's all he does. And he's got a lot of HP. Other than that, not really that impressive because in the end you end up just taking so long to kill him you just get bored.
Yeah, it's always frustrating to deal with something that's just a giant sack of hit points.
Oh yeah. And that's what Anjanath and 5th Ed tended to be in the book, was just massive sack of hit points. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But that was one of the weird third-party books I pulled into the game, and it worked out pretty well. Like, the players seemed to like it.
Any last wishes?
Yeah, like I said, I think that there's, something to recommend the old hex crawl style exploration. And I still really dig, like, classic dungeon crawls where you're taking graph paper and mapping room by room and searching for traps.
Oh my god, I remember those days.
And that would kill to run a game of that, but it's not really supportive of, like, stories and role play, which I also enjoy, but sometimes it's nice to just do a, big puzzle dungeon.
Sometimes I feel like you need a break from the stories and roleplay, and you need those puzzle dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
Just to, like, cleanse the palate.
Yeah, my rule of thumb when I ran my Pathfinder campaign for 3 years was, at the very least, every third session, if not every second session, would be combat focused, and then the other ones could be more roleplay focused. Usually there was at least the opportunity for combat in every session, but I wanted to have a guaranteed combat just about every other session, and I'm trying to remember, I think I did at least 2 puzzle dungeons over the 3-year run that were kind of big and had some interesting things for the players to solve.
Yeah, puzzle dungeons can be fun. Oh my god. Blade Advent went... Oh, Jesus Christ, my chair.
Oops.
No, it makes that popping noise every now and then. It scares the shit out of me. Anjanath is one of the first walls you hit in Monster Hunter. It's meant to gatekeep you away from stronger monsters. And that's true. Anjanath is that first monster you actually have to grind to kill. A little bit.
Yeah.
And it probably doesn't translate well into being a damage sponge experience. But if they made it so that you had to play it smart, like you would a real creature, it could be interesting. I could agree with that. I feel like if they had upped the intelligence of some of the monsters, that might have helped DMs play them better. Or at least up their wisdoms more.
Mm-hmm.
But they really didn't. And so some of the creatures just were very brutish. And there was no real excuse for me not to play them as brutes.
Right.
I was just like, how am I supposed to do this?
Or if they had given them some interesting actions other than just, move and damage, perhaps.
Yeah, it's like, go here, damage foe, breathe fire, go. I was like, okay.
Yeah, like if the fire T-Rex, for instance, could use its flames to generate a smoke cloud as a bonus action at some point, that could be cool. If that was advantageous to it.
Yeah.
Change
Now,
up the battlefield a little.
I will say this. The Elder Dragons they put in the book, though, were much better. But their challenge ratings went up a lot. And I mean a lot. Like, some of them were, like, above 20.
Right.
And I was like, oof. So, like, some of them you couldn't just get to, and I was like, oh, okay. I will say, though, like, one of the monsters I wanted to fight in 5th Ed to see if it was as tough in 5th Ed as it was in the game was Nurgargante.
Nurgargante.
If you want, you can look him up. He is a big, spiky boy. And he is angry. Like, really, really angry and aggressive. And he will straight up kill people real easy in the game.
Okay. Oh, yeah, he looks nasty.
Fun fact, he eats other elder dragons. He noms on them. And he's not the final elder dragon either. He was actually one of the first ones you deal with. Because he's so aggressive. It's
Rain
like...
outside.
What was that?
I said I think I hear rain outside.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain tonight. Is that the a-hole who hangs out in the volcano? He's one of them? Are you talking about the spiky one, Wizen? Or are you talking about the one that's always on fire? Because there are two assholes that hang out in the volcano that are elder dragons. The Fireboy. That is Teostra and Lunestra. Depending on if you're talking about the red one or the blue one. They both look like fire lion things. One's red, one's blue. And one's male, one's female. I think the blue one's the female.
Oh, yeah, I hear rain. That's thunderstorm rain.
Yeah. And Monster Hunter World has this habit, by the way, of making the females in the game that show up bigger and meaner than the males. By, like, a lot. Excluding one. And that is Rathian and Rathalos. Rathalos is worse than Rathian. And Rathian's the female. But Lunestra and Teostra, if they get near each other, can do this thing called the mating dance. And if they do it, there is pretty much a nuke that goes off of fire, and you're probably going to die. It is difficult to avoid. There are only two other monsters attacks that are more difficult to avoid than the mating dance. One is Nurgargante, because Nurgargante is very fast, very aggressive, and wants to basically leap across the entire goddamn field to say, yo, I'm gonna headbutt your ass into the ground.
This should do it.
I think they both just have a nuke in general. Yes, Blade, they both have a nuke, but they do a nuke together that has a much wider radius. And it fucks shit up. Yeah, Nurgargante has this wonderful dive attack that is horrifying. With Nurgargante, as one person put it, you only have to worry about three things with Nurgargante. You have to worry about the spikes, you have to worry about the claws, and you have to worry about the giant fist. And the giant fist, by the way, is his dive. And the only thing that will save you is called the Superman dive, where you literally will go whee like that and dive out of the way. Because, yeah. Fat Lily 1021. What's up? Dropping in from the village again. Man, I haven't played D&D in like 15 years. Dude, there's so many games online. You trust me, if you want to get back into it, you can find a game. I assure you.
It's a good time. Good time to be a D&D fan.
Yeah. Though some people are concerned right now. Wyzen's like, okay, what's the village? The village is a Discord I'm a part of that a lot of streamers are a part of, and we share our links on there, and we tend to watch each other's streams in order to help each other. It's like a community help thing. Blade Advent just went to dive. Just frames you if you can't get it to proc. Yeah. Rose, go to bed. But no, Nurgargante will literally fly up into the air. He'll hover there for a few seconds. He'll target one person or a group, and then just do this horrifying dive across the entire field. And it is a giant cone.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody caught in that cone is instantly killed. Like, there's no amount of defense that will save your ass from it.
Unless you get off that dive and get your invincibility frames.
Yeah. It is bad. And I hate fighting Nurgargante because my weapon of choice in Monster Hunter was called the heavy bowgun, which is the longest range weapon in the game.
Yeah.
Fat Willie, that's awesome. I remember sitting around and playing with the boys for hours. Yeah. If you want to find a game, my recommendation is go on Roll20, go on the forums. There are a ton of games. Always looking for players. Wyzen is Sword and Shield for Monster Hunter. The classic sword and board. Blade Advent's like heavy bowgun's the best. Yes, because I like to daka until the agronauts come home. Because the world needs more daka. It's one of the few things I'm orcish about. And I told Anne this too. I told her if I ever won the lotto and got to have more than one army in like Warhammer 40k,
yeah,
I'm doing Tau. I'm having a Tau army.
Yep.
I'm having a Custodes army.
Yeah.
I love their aesthetic.
Yeah, they are just amazing looking.
And then my third army is going to be Orcs.
Yeah, I have to agree. I love the Orcs just because they're the most fun faction
to play, as well as to just. You can't be a salty bitch as an Orc player.
No, you can't. Though I'm sure some people have tried.
I'm sure some have tried. Yeah, that's true. Oh my god. I put a couple shield mods on my bowgun and just soloed most of Iceborne. Yeah, bowgun has a shield mod on it that gives you the ability to block attacks. And that's beautiful. I love it. Cold Iron Longsword, heavy shield.
I think that one of the reasons that you can't really be an Orc player and be like super salty and angry is because the Orcs have very rarely been the top army. There's a brief period recently where they actually managed it, but you know the people who are win at all costs and just all about competition, they're not going to be playing Orcs because Orcs aren't the top of the meta.
And they're really all about just luck.
They are. I mean, I think that they've tamed that a little bit, but it's still very random. Like they're one of the few factions left that have a lot of weapons that have a random number of shots, for instance. So yeah, there is a bigger factor of luck there.
Fat Lulu goes, I'm pretty sure my OG game board is in my parents' attic. Oh my god.
Our path leads on.
Back when D&D had a game board.
Well, there were some fun little D&D like board games that I had fun with. I remember Hero Quest pretty fondly.
There was
Just
here,
sort of.
yeah, Hero Quest, Talisman.
Oh yeah, I haven't played Talisman in a while. But
Um,
yeah, love Talisman.
I have Talisman, the board game, on my
hmm
computer.
Without a doubt.
I think I have it in a Steam version, and I think I have. I swear I think I have an actual physical copy, but I'd have to check. I've got a friend who is a board game nut, and he has like all the Talisman expansions. And I'm like, dude, we are never going to be playing a game that uses all the.
Yeah, no, Talisman is great. Yeah, I have it on Steam. I have Talisman on Steam. What else do I have on Steam? I have a few board games. Let me check my library. Let me turn. Oh, let me shrink everything first, so that way I don't get overwhelmed with the sheer fucking number of games I have on Steam. Because thank you, Humble Bundle.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got 100% Orange Juice, which is a board game. Agricola.
Okay.
Armelo, apparently. I have Bio Inc. Redemption. That's not a board game, though. You remember Plague Inc.?
Yeah.
It's similar to Plague Inc., but instead of just trying to kill the world or whatever, you're trying to either kill a single person or save that person. Like, keep them healthy.
Yeah, I get you.
And the multiplayer is literally both sides being played at the same time.
Neat.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to get Anne and my former roommate to play it at the same time because they're both medically trained
Mm-hmm.
in, like, medical research, and let them have at it. That would have been fun as hell. I have Carcassonne.
Oh, yeah.
I have that. I have the original Game of Life. Then I have Game of Life 2, the video game.
Sure.
Golf with your friends. That's always a good one. The Jackbox Party Pack 2.
Love Jackbox.
Yeah. I have Magic Duels. I haven't played it yet. Or, sorry, I put 41.5 hours into it. My bad. I think this is the one where you're... Yeah, I think this is what we were playing. Or was it Arena?
I mean, I don't remember playing you in Arena, so it probably was Duels.
It probably was Duels. And we hated the timer.
Yeah.
God, that pissed us off so much.
I have honestly given up on Arena as well, so haven't played it in a while.
Room Escape and Diablo were probably my only computer games played back in the day. But yeah, I remember Diablo back in the day. Hell, me and Gamera here beat Diablo 2 at one point together.
Yes, we did.
That was fun. What else is there? I have Overcooked. I have Pandemic, the board game, on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
I assume you've got Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, of course I got Tabletop Simulator. Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Okay, I've actually played the physical version of that once or twice at a convention.
I've never touched it. Small World, I've also never touched, but I want to play it one day.
Mm-hmm.
Splendor. I have Tabletop Playground. I got it in a Steam bundle.
Right.
I got Talisman, the digital edition. Ticket to Ride. Twilight Struggle.
Don't know that one.
Twilight Struggle. It apparently mimics the Cold War.
Okay.
But it is a actual tabletop board game. I have this game called Witch It. And it is like a weird fantasy prop hunt game. So it's kind of neat. And then, of course, I got Worms Revolution.
I'm surprised you don't have a version of Catan on there.
It never came up in the damn bundles yet.
I don't have it on Steam, but I used to have it on Xbox 360 Arcade.
I have a physical copy of Catan,
Yeah.
but it's like the base game.
Right. Every now and then I get an itch to play Catan. I do enjoy it. But, yeah, going back to like the D&D adjacent board games, Hero Quest was always a big favorite. Talisman still has that kind of vibe. But I think games have gotten a little more complicated. So you have things like Descent, which is very D&D. And I've played it only a couple of times, but it's like sort of a deck builder / dungeon crawl, and that's really cool. And of course, you're familiar with Arkham Horror, which is basically Call of Cthulhu as a board game.
I have Arkham Horror
Yep.
and a lot of expansions with it. Not to mention, I have the program on my computer that lets me make content for Arkham Horror.
Yeah.
Love that. I did find a D&D adjacent game, though, that was by far and away one of the shittiest board games I've ever played. Dude, it was bad.
What was
Heroescape.
Heroescape.
Yeah. They apparently made a Marvel version of it. But this game is shit.
Is that like a miniatures game, or am I thinking something else?
It is kind of a miniatures game, but it came with its miniatures.
Right.
And so that's the kicker. It came with its miniatures. And oh my god, was it so fucking bad. My god, man. Because, one of the, what was I'm trying to remember? There was I used some of their miniatures still as D&D miniatures.
Yes. Okay, I'm looking at it online. Yeah, this is the one where you had different factions from throughout history that could battle each other, and you had the hex tile maps.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you had
some.
You had to set up the hex tile every time you played.
Yep.
And oh my god, it was so bad. Because if you played the agents, they had the longest range.
Yep.
And then all you had to do was find the +1 range bonus, which isn't hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
It really isn't. And then you literally outrange everybody. And you can kite them around the board, hitting them for damage.
Nice.
And there's dick they can do to stop you.
Yeah, I've got a few miniatures from Heroescape that I've just picked up over the years, and yeah, for use in RPGs. And I think actually most of the ones I have are the agent guys, for use in modern investigation type stuff.
Oh yeah. I hated it because I tried playing it and oh my god.
I remember it and Mage Knight hitting both kind of around the same time, and I just never really played either. There's also, of course, HeroClix, which is sort of still around. But, yeah. The only miniature war game I ever ended up getting involved in was Warhammer 40k, good old Plastic Crack.
Yeah, Plastic Crack. Yeah, and the other miniature game I tried because I wanted to give it a shot, which was Magic the Gathering, the board game miniature thing.
Yes.
And oh my god, was that so poorly done.
I think that game has just basically been relegated to discount bins that people find it, buy it cheap, and then reuse the miniatures for D&D.
That's what I did. I just used all the miniatures for D&D, and I'm just like, screw this. Because it's like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. It was just it was so bad.
I swear I think you're going to have to get some straps and a seatbelt to keep your daughter in bed.
I know. I know.
Keep seeing her sneaking behind you.
Yeah, I see her too. Rose, go to bed. Go to sleep.
Serves you right.
Gonna have to turn her room into Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Kids. Oh man. She's also, by the way, super excited when she gets to start playing D&D.
Mm-hmm. I hear there's going to be a new Dnd Starter Set soon. Sometime this year, they're coming out with something to replace the Lost Mines of Phandelver set.
Oh, that would be nice.
Dragons of Stormwrack Isle, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
I will say my one frustration with the current 5e game that I'm in is that 5th level feels like an eternity. Like,
Yeah.
I understand why they structured the levels the way they did to get you to 5th level relatively quickly, even if you start from 1st. And then, you know, there's a huge gap.
Yeah,
But
you get all your cool shit at level 5, and then you're just like, okay, you stay here for a bit.
yeah, we're over halfway to level 6 at this point, but I want those abilities. I want those abilities.
I don't blame you. I do not blame you at all.
I did find a cool magical item in our last session, so now my character's Rapier +1 has been replaced by a Rapier +1 Frostbrand.
Ooh,
Which is
nice.
neat.
Shoot my kids just now getting ready for bed. I wish they were in bed now. Yeah, I get that, man. Kids sometimes just don't want to listen. I don't want
Too much energy to burn.
It's like, I don't want to give up Fireball in this place. This place is filled with trolls.
But yeah.
The Lost Mines of Phandelver. Blade Advent just mentioned he never got a chance to play it. My experience with it was okay. Like, it wasn't anything to write home about, but it wasn't like terrible either.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I got to play it a little bit at a convention game. I don't think we finished the whole thing, but it was a neat experience.
Yeah.
I've got... I'm not buying every 5th edition book because, honestly, one of my few beefs with 5th edition is how they structure their book releases.
Oh
And-
my god.
Okay, so in the old model, you'd have adventure modules, and you'd have splat books with information on running this or that. And these days, you don't seem to get as many splat books. Occasionally, you get a setting book, or you'll get a miscellaneous extra stuff book like Xanathar's, where you've got some monsters, you've got some spells. But I miss the old, hey, here's a bunch of stuff for, you know, your classes, or hey, here's some new classes. I don't want them to do class bloat necessarily, but more paths would be good. I just would love to see more of that, or more statted races to run. Honestly, like when my friend was running the Genasi Monk, trying to find where they have the Genasi statted as a playable race was a challenge, because they don't have them laid out like, here's a book of new options. I think it was in the web supplement for the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, which is, yeah, just super frustrating.
Like, side book of a side book of a side book. It's like, shit.
And then the books they do put out, for the most part, are these campaigns, essentially. They're not even adventures anymore. It's like, this will carry your party through multiple sessions. It's for players of levels 5 to 15. Well, damn, that's more than a year of playtime.
Bullets Girl just went, let's F go. I think she...
F-bomb.
The F-bomb. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm writing a campaign setting, so I get it, but it's just like...
Well, I mean, there's a difference between a campaign setting book and a campaign book. And what I mean is, like,
Yeah.
you know... Oh, God, Dragon Heist. Dragon Heist is a campaign. It's a series of adventures. But it's not a Forgotten Realms campaign guide. It's not even really much of a guide to Waterdeep. You've got, I guess, the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, but I could look at my gaming shelf and I've got probably 24 Forgotten Realms books that are just, here's what this region's got and all its NPCs and nations and stuff. Not an adventure in there to be seen.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I kind of miss that structure of, here's a book about the places and people, and then here are some adventures. Now, I do like the adventure collections they do, like Tales from the Yawning Portal or Candlekeep Mysteries, I think are pretty neat. So you've got those individuals that you can break up.
I gotta say, though, I like how Pathfinder did it, which was you had adventure paths, which were pretty much campaigns.
Yes.
And then you had adventures, which are like little one-shots.
Yes. But you also had like here's the western areas of Golarion, detailing these particular regions.
Oh yeah,
so
definitely.
Best of both worlds.
Oh yeah. We're having a little dance party in our chat, apparently.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. And woo, it's all bright and colorful. Would I say, though, like, one of the best pre-written adventures, though, I have done is gotta be Rise of the Rune Lords right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mark's been running it really well. I've been having fun. There's a lot of good content in it, too.
Sure. It's definitely one of the ones that I hear about, people always talk highly about it. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly surprised that it hasn't just been straight up turned into a video game.
Yeah, I think they did an adaptation for it in the Pathfinder comic.
Squiggly just went, thanks, though, you had to help me some. It's like, dude, you're a new DM. Alright? There's nothing wrong with getting help.
Yeah. Being able to ask for help is an important skill.
Yeah. And even there are times where I ask for help. Where I'll go to Gamera here and go, yo, what do you think I should do about this? Or Mike, whenever I can get a hold of Mike.
Yeah. I had Mike on the invitation list for a game I was starting, and then I think the day before he was going to be there, he ended up getting some kind of stomach bug.
Bullets Girl, not gonna lie, I've only played D&D once, and my fellow players weren't impressed. We were cracking up at everything, and they said I'm not serious enough. Sounds like you had a shitty group in that case. I mean,
that could be. But also, you can have one of those silly games and everybody have fun.
Oh, yeah.
So if everybody's cracking up, that's good. But then for them to come back and say that you weren't serious enough, that's kind of shitty.
Yeah, I would say that's the shitty part. It's not so much that they were saying you can't be serious. It's more of a...
Yeah.
They changed their tune afterwards.
Yeah, and honestly, some of my favorite games that I've run have been silly. I've got a kind of one that I throw out just in case I don't have my regular group fully assembled. That's based on like it's a shitty superhero team stationed in Florida, and they all have crappy powers and code names, but they're trying to do their best. And my joke is that they're the second most popular team in Florida after Other.
After Other.
And we have a blast, and it's silly. And in one of the adventures, I put them up against a sinister talent agent, and all the minions were basically just shitty stage acts. They had to fight like a Backstreet Boys knockoff group, who all fought in like coordination.
I would say honestly, our Star Wars game that we ran wasn't that serious.
It wasn't that serious. There were serious moments. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean,
and the character's mom wanted to do was pretty serious.
Yeah. What the the Jedi Guardian's mom wanted to do? Yeah, that was bad. It's like, yeah, I want to possess my daughter and like live forever through her, and then have a kid through her, and then live through that one. It's like, yeah, that's kind of serious.
Darth Vicarious.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, for Christ's sakes, we had a droid in the game named R4OCD.
R4OCD.
Yeah. It was like, Jesus Christ. And we also had a Sith and a Jedi in the party.
I will say that the Sith was a bit of an edgelord, especially at first, though we did eventually wear him down, so he wasn't quite so edgy.
Yeah, goddamn. I love him to death, but sometimes the edge, needs to be dulled a bit.
Yeah, I think he might have peaked with the, the Mixed World of Darkness campaign with his hunter.
Yeah, the Lucifuge.
The Lucifuge, yes.
Yes.
Who was originally going to be Dante, but then decided his dad's name was Dante.
Yeah, it was just like, okay.
It's not a bad character concept. It's just like, that is straight up Devil May Cry. You just don't want to do straight up Devil May Cry. Change it a little bit more than that.
Please.
The best writers steal, but you gotta at least change the serial number, so
Yep.
it's a little bit different.
We appreciate the good vibes and hype there, Bullets. We like good vibes.
Welcome, traveler.
But Belaid Advent there, there's such a thing as too much silly. That's fair. Depends on the group.
He's too much. Yeah. By the way, Bullets, welcome to the tavern. Grab yourself a mug of ale, pull up a chair, and enjoy the tales that are told here. But yeah, the Star Wars game wasn't overly silly. We did have our few moments of weirdness.
Yeah.
But they weren't terrible. The same with the mixed WAD game.
Yes. I think the mixed WAD game probably was both more serious and sillier than the Star Wars game. Like, I think it had more extremes on either end.
Yeah,
but
that's
on
fair.
average, it was fairly serious. I mean, the final battle was essentially a kaiju battle, so that was pretty
was fun.
over the top. But yeah,
But that
it
was the
a
whole
blast.
point.
I got to unveil my character's bat cave and all the costumes I'd made for everybody.
Yeah, the whole point of the last battle of that game was literally just like, let's go full ridiculous here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the nuclear golf balls.
And the nuclear golf balls. Jesus Christ. I remember the first... Oh, shit. I fast-forwarded things. I remember the first time I tried running that game, and we had one guy ruin it.
Oh? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that there was an earlier incarnation with him.
Yeah, and... Oof. It did not end well. Why is he going super fast? Like, what the fuck? Something up here.
But yeah, circling back to the silly serious thing, it really depends on your group and your GM and the game you're playing. Honestly, I have started running a Call of Cthulhu game, and I had some ideas for that. And a couple of my potential players were looking at the anime Black Butler, and like, oh, we want to play kind of a silly nobleman and his servant who are always like, busting on each other and mocking each other. And I'm like, as funny as that would be, that is not going to work with Call of Cthulhu as written, because even though I'm not playing Call of Cthulhu as like full-on body horror, slasher crap, it is still going to be serious. Your characters, if your character strips off his shirt, jumps on top of a caravan, and starts singing Freebird, and it's 1890, they're going to lock you in an insane asylum because you're acting like a crazy person. So what I basically said was, look, I'm going to run the serious Call of Cthulhu game. Later on, if you guys want to do those characters, what I will do is run a less serious Call of Cthulhu game where we can kind of have that expectation. And I compared it to Evil Dead versus Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead is a horror movie. Evil Dead 2 is a horror movie with a lot of comedy elements. It's black comedy. It's dark comedy.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It does allow for that kind of silliness. So we'll see when that comes around.
All right, so I have quite a place. Yeah, and that's the thing. A good rule of thumb is like you figure this out in session 0, or if you're a new player going into a group, you ask how much silliness versus seriousness do you want in your game.
Yep. Now, and there's different kinds of serious and silliness. There's the in-game kind that we've just been talking about, but then there's also the out-of-game kind, the making of the puns and the Monty Python references and making fun of character names. Some people aren't going to react well to that. Me, I can't not do that to some extent. So I'm never going to be like the guy who runs Call of Cthulhu and I've got the candles and the background music and it's all serious and that kind of crap. I'm going to be the guy making the Klaatu Barada Nikto references to Army of Darkness whenever you guys pick up the book, because that's where my brain works.
Hey, look, it's a book made of human flesh and bone. Oh, hey.
I was so happy to get them their first book in my Call of Cthulhu game, and Sarah's already reading it.
Oh, no. Why?
Because she wants to. She loves that shit.
Goodbye. Farewell.
Well, I'm playing Pulp Cthulhu. They have a little bit more resilience in the hit points and sanity department. And it's a fairly minor mythos tome, as these things go.
So it's not the King in Yellow?
No.
Thank gods.
That might come up at some point, but no. Honestly, this is actually kind of a fun thing. The current edition of Call of Cthulhu has a rule that if your character does not believe in the mythos, then if you read one of those mythos tomes that supposedly damages your sanity and has all this stuff in it, you don't actually take the sanity loss. You write down how much sanity you would have lost, and then later on, when your character encounters something from the mythos, like a creature that they can't deny, and suddenly starts believing in it, then they realize retroactively that all that shit they read is true, and then they take that accumulated sanity damage as one big lump.
Oh. Oh, that is painful.
Random encounter squashed for something random, like a tiny cute buffalo comes out of the bushes for the 100th time. Okay, yeah, that does sound a little especially silly.
I've seen some DMs do that because they're sick and tired of the players going full murder hobo.
Okay, yeah.
And so they give them like something that is just like, congratulations, murder hobo this. And it's like, okay, it's a cute buffalo. You don't think they're not going to kill the fuck out of that? Like, you dumb.
Honestly, yeah, the random encounters, if I was doing random encounters at all, I wouldn't bother to have them be wasteful. Now, sometimes I might say, you know what, I rolled a random encounter, but I really don't feel like throwing one in. It's not going to, really enhance the narrative, so I just skip it. Or maybe it would be an NPC encounter, but I don't think I would underplay them by... Oh, okay. Belade says, nah, this DM just never did anything of real interest or challenge.
Oh, lovely.
So
That's always fun.
Yeah, basically a GM kind of goofing off. And you know what? If he or she finds a group that is vibing with that, good on them. But tiny buffaloes, naked squirrels, etc.
That's just weird, man.
Yeah, I've seen a few GMs in my day that are just like all about the weird, surreal storytelling. And it's never satisfying for me.
Man, it rain's really coming down out here now.
Yeah, it was hitting my window about, 20 minutes ago?
Yeah.
So now it's moved up your way.
Yeah, this is pretty heinous. Woof.
Yeah, we're supposed to get, I think, intermittent thunderstorms for the next couple of hours.
Wonderful.
But yeah, I've played silly, I've played serious. I'm never 100% serious, and honestly, I think serious games are enhanced by having a little silliness mixed in sometimes. One of the best examples that I've run into was, I think it was my first Call of Cthulhu experience at a convention years ago. And, we were a bunch of Egyptian explorers. I think we had, somebody who was there as a cameraman. We had somebody there who was an archaeologist. But basically, we were raiding an Egyptian tomb. And the GM for the session had brought miniatures. And by miniatures, I mean he had brought an entire Lego dungeon of a pyramid tomb. And it had, sliding walls and traps built into it. It was the coolest thing ever. And my little Lego dude fell down a crocodile pit and got eaten. And it was silly and fun, but also serious. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I also have to admit
Jesus.
that when I go to convention games, I will often seek out the mashup style games. And by that, I mean one of my favorite examples is Scooby-Doo Cthulhu, which is...
No.
very serious, but also very silly, and I have a blast with stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's always fun. If I lose net connection, by the way, folks, I do apologize.
Haven't seen your lights flicker yet.
Joy. Okay, nasty look. Apparently
but
my
yeah.
son was in the playroom and I didn't notice.
Oh.
So, I'm getting not a happy look right now.
I mean, it's hard to pay attention to things behind you.
Yeah.
Gonna have to buy your kids some collars with bells on them.
Or something. Good lord. They've just been bad today. Like, really bad.
How long have you guys been set up in the new place?
Since Saturday.
Okay, so they're still getting used to it.
Yeah. So It's been pretty craziness.
Yeah. Now in the new place, they each have their own room?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully they get distracted by the idea of, decorating their room and playing in their room, and
I can only hope. They've just been bad this week, and we've been trying to deal with it the best we can.
Well, the reason I asked about the move timing is because that probably has them all stirred up and stimulated, completely new environment.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I really like those kinds of mashup games. Enjoy it while it lasts. Eventually you won't be able to get them to come out of their rooms.
Yeah.
Fast forward to that 13 or 14-year-old.
Yeah. It's just, we've been having, like I said, a rough time, and I really wish that wasn't the case.
Yeah, once they get settled in, hopefully that will calm things down.
Yeah. Anne's been having a harder time with it than me because they've been fighting her more than me.
What was I going to mention? Yeah, just it's good to strike a balance. You can't go too silly or too serious. I mean, I've played silly games like the Toon RPG and things like that, and it's fun, but it's not really sustainable for a campaign. That silly superhero game that I'm doing, it's something that we run maybe a few times a year. It's not a monthly game even, because it is very silly, and I think it would wear out its welcome if I were doing it every month.
Alright, well, give me 1 second. I gotta take care
Sure.
of the kids. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Alright, we got the kids settled down some.
Welcome back.
Yep. Sorry about that, folks. Apparently, Danny opened his window. So, that was fun.
Yep.
Sarcasm.
Well, considering the escape artists that your kids are, I hope you're able to secure those windows pretty good.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure they do, Squidgy.
Yeah, the problem that we had with the windows is a lot of people got on our case about some of the things we wanted to do with the windows. Because we wanted to put like a particular childproof lock on it, but it makes it so the window only goes up a couple inches.
Right.
And so people got aggravated with that idea.
Because of thinking of like fire escape potential?
Yeah, but like I tried explaining to people, like this type of window,
The window isn't a safe egress anyway.
The window's not safe egress anyway. It's like 8 to 10 feet off the top.
8 feet off the ground.
It's 8 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, if it's your only option, go for it. But also, at the same time, the window has an option where you pull 2 locks on the top, and you have to, like, hold them, and the window slides towards you. Like, folds towards you.
Right, for, like, cleaning purposes.
But it's also used as an emergency exit.
Sure.
Even if I kept from being able to slide it up, you could still open it as an emergency.
Yeah, like, even if we do the bolt where you can't slide it up, you can still use the emergency version.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, okay. So it was just like, okay.
Yeah, I think at least in the near term, yeah, since it's that big a drop, you're going to want to curtail that window opening ability.
Yeah, very much so.
Let us strike as one.
But yeah, I really dig when you get a good game going that has a good balance between the silly and the serious.
Oh, definitely.
You have those little moments of comic relief, but you also have actually valid stakes. You have important things to do.
Yeah, like what happened with Mike in the Star Wars game.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good example where he had a fairly serious character, but then he had a moment of
Hilarity.
absolute hilarity where he pulled the top 2 floors off of an apartment complex.
Yep.
And it was great.
That was an oops.
Yeah, that was very much an oops. It was like, shit. Oh, shit. This one's shock. Okay.
Trying to think if we've had any particularly silly moments in the 5e game that I'm in. My character tends to be kind of the funny one, just as the bard, but
I'm kind of the semi-serious character in the Rune Lords game I'm in.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
So, what are you playing in that one again?
in Rune Lords, I'm playing a witch.
Oh, okay.
And it's working out beautifully. I am making anybody I come across is just not going to have a good day.
Yep.
So there is that. Sometimes it's to Mark's dismay. He is not particularly enjoyed it some cases.
I mean, you always, as a GM, need to be prepared for the person who just, plays their character or knows their character better than you, the GM, know that particular class, and they do things you don't expect.
At least you weren't as bad as Wick was. That is true. I will say that. We had a player named Wick, and his character was
Open bullshit.
a very much a heavy hitter.
Mm-hmm.
He did what was his class? I can't remember. I think it was called Aegis or something. It was like a psionic warrior class.
Okay.
And his character was heinous as hell. Yeah, Anne keeps saying broken, and broken's not a bad word. That's not a bad word at all. I'm not saying his character was awful, but because he didn't use his character to take away from other party members.
Right.
But he also did kind of derail the game slightly.
Yeah. Yeah, with powerful characters, I've always been a bit of an optimizer, but usually I'm not optimizing to be a one-person party. I'm optimizing to say my character is going to be the best at X, or my character is going to be the best at Y. And that leaves room for other people to play, so you don't always have a spotlight, and you don't always necessarily derail the plots. Now, I will say that sometimes a powerful character can accidentally derail a plot. If the GM has something set up that they want to go a specific way, not necessarily saying railroading, but like I need I need point A to connect to point B, and they come up with an ability, or they're just so good that you can't get them to bridge that gap, then you kind of have to scramble sometimes. But
Hey,
yeah.
I wanted. Oh shit! I did Divine Favor, not Weapon One. Shit.
Sort of relating to that and the silly versus serious, a friend of mine a couple years back was starting to run a Rifts game, and Rifts is top tier broken bullshit. Just to start out the gate, Rifts is one of the most unbalanced RPGs on the market. But he had run a Rifts game years before that I was in, and yes, we were over the top, we were powerful, but the game was a blast, so I was eager to revisit it, and I was trying to think what kind of character I would play. And then, this is actually the same guy from the story with the Forgotten Realms that went for the Deck of Many Things 3 or 4 times. For this game, he decided he wanted to play a rogue scientist, which is one of the Rift's classes, and it's actually fairly reasonable. It's one of the normal human ones in the base book. It's fairly balanced. The problem is, he wanted to play a rogue scientist named Rick Sanchez with a portal gun.
Oh, why?
Because he really liked Rick and Morty, and the GM was not... that GM is not good at saying no to people.
That GM also did not notice... Character played basically Rick from Rick and Morty in a game.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, once he had established that he was going to play Rick Sanchez, I knew that this game would not be taken seriously at any point. Any challenge, because that's how Rick and Morty goes, any challenge that they meet with, Rick almost always just like portals somewhere, gets the resource he needs, he's back, he overcomes the challenge easily, and then moves on. Why? If we needed critical equipment, he could just take a portal gun and go steal it from some parallel timeline. Or, I want to be able to visit worlds on demand. And at that point, my brain checked out of taking this as a serious game. It's like, okay, if he's playing a cartoon character, I'm going to play a cartoon character. So I set about doing the most horrible abomination I could under the Rift's rules, which, as it turns out, is pretty horrible. So I made a demigod, which is a playable class in Rifts, with a bunch of other class combination bullshit to put together a very particular character. I made it was the daughter of my previous character, so she had a familial connection to the previous campaign, and this actually even ties into what we were talking about earlier with the multipliers multiplying instead of adding. This GM believed multipliers should multiply because he liked things to be big and epic. So the character I built was basically a female version of One Punch Man.
That's a problem.
It is a problem if you want to take combat seriously, but if we're not taking things seriously enough to exclude Rick Sanchez, I'm like, all right.
Fuck it, let's go.
So Rift's Earth has a Cthulhu-like entity in the Pacific Ocean, the Dweller in the Depths. And I figured out with my character's abilities, and I did all the calculations, the Dweller in the Depths, I think, has like 500,000 MDC, like 500,000 mega damage, which is just ridiculous. It's, that's like what a city would have. I figured out that I could one-shot it if I planned it right.
Oh boy. That's not good.
So we played that game, and it was fun, but the GM, to his credit, realized that because he'd allowed these excesses of power with Rick Sanchez and Saitama, basically he couldn't come up with a way to challenge us and make it interesting. So we set it aside, which was good.
Yeah, at that point you set seriousness aside and you're just like, no. I
Yeah.
heard you. It's my nose. It's my nose. Why are you poking my nose? It's my ribs.
Win! So like she used to the other pokes and then go for the kill.
Fuck you.
But yeah, it was a blast. For the sessions we got to play.
Love me though.
It was,
Yeah.
it was fun.
Yeah, I could see that. And yes, hon, I do love you. Speaking of silliness, I did see a video though that made me chuckle, and it was based off of an abridged series. They took the audio clip off of an abridged series, and it was a woman comes up to a guy. All right, now they're playing it off as a female barbarian going up to a male bard, who was probably a gnome.
Okay.
All right, the female barbarian pushes the gnome. All right, and goes, "Fight me, nerd." And he goes, and like the bard turns and goes, "What is wrong with you?" It's like, "I don't want to fight you. It's like, I like my testicles." She goes, and then she goes, "I'll give you a treat." And he goes, "No!" He goes, "My, you're soft." And he goes, "Yeah, thanks. I use like conditioner and I keep myself really nice. Stay the hell away from me." And she goes, "Come on." He goes, "That's not going to happen." And he goes, "What do I need to do to get rid of you?" "Fight me, then." And he goes, "Oh, there's really no way to stop this." "Nope." And he goes, "Fuck me." And then she ends it with, "I plan on it." It's like, I feel like this is like barbarian foreplay at this point.
Death by Snoo Snoo.
Death by Snoo Snoo.
Barbarians for you.
That's some barbarians.
Yes.
The first 5th ed game I actually got to play in was an online game. DM was absolute shit. Alright? His idea of a successful game was, we all almost die.
Once.
Yeah. In that game, I played a female... Oh, my camera had to adjust. A female paladin. Oath of the Crown.
Yep.
Alright, this was before I understood how all the oaths work and all that shit. And we had a barbarian in the group. Alright? The barbarian lost his tribe. Like, his tribe got murdered.
Okay.
And one of his long-term goals was to repopulate his tribe.
Okay.
Well, I set certain mindset of my character. Like, she wasn't the stereotypical paladin. Like, she respected honesty, yes. She respected strength to a point. Like, she's like, you have to have a decent amount of combat strength. You have to use that to help others. You have to be honest. And she considered, if you have these traits, to be a good person. Like, ish. Like, when I say combat strength, I'm not just talking about, like, oh, you have to be big and strong. You have to, like, the wizard was okay in her mind. If this makes sense.
I gotcha.
The barbarian and her, personality-wise, hit it off wonderfully. To the point where if the game had continued long enough where the DM didn't fuck everything so hard, it was likely they were going to have a romantic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it was wild because everybody was losing their minds like, how can the barbarian and a paladin get it on? Like, he goes out and like fights people and kills people and gets angry about it and shit, and you're like, yeah, that's kind of hot. And you're like, why do you find that hot? He goes, because he's killing the right people.
And he's honest about it.
And he doesn't lie to me. Because like we had a party member who was playing a rogue, and he played the rogue much like the horny bard.
Oh boy.
So he was trying to get into the only female character's pants in the party, which was mine.
Right.
And he kept lying and lying and lying to the point where my character, who was an Asamar, and she was the dark Asamar one. I can't remember its name.
You got me, man.
I think it's like the Fallen Asamar or something.
Okay.
Whenever they release their Asamar powers, everybody within a certain radius of them has to make a will save. If they fail, they're under the fear effect, and they actually have to like either cower to them or run.
Interesting.
It's a really good melee ability.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. So like my character would often run into the middle of all the enemies, hit a couple of them, drag them all towards her, use one of her Oath of the Crown abilities where they couldn't run more than 30 feet from her, and then transform, which only had like a 10-foot radius.
Sure.
But it was still enough that most like enemies would be like, "Oh shit!"
Oh shit, bug out.
Right on.
And if they tried running from her, she got attacks of opportunity.
Yeah.
And it worked great. So, but I wish that game did better because the players were good. It's just the DM was shit.
Mm-hmm.
I hated that.
Yeah, sometimes you have a group and it's just the GM that's not working. It's like, I wish I could take all these people and put them in another group and keep playing with them. Honestly, there's a bit of that in the Call of Cthulhu game I'm running because we had a guy who's actually a fantastic GM.
CPKs if it's
I mean,
story related because the party was stupid.
the downside is that, you know, as a GM, he has attention deficit disorder. He basically just won't run the same campaign more than like 3 or 4 sessions. But he started Call of Cthulhu, and he ran us, I think, in 2 to 3 sessions of Call of Cthulhu with me and Sarah and a couple of my friends, and we loved it. We wanted more, and then he couldn't show up for a while, and then he wanted to run something else, and it's just like, God damn it. So that's why I ended up running Call of Cthulhu, to scratch that itch, so my players who were really enjoying it could keep playing, and we could bring in some more people, and yeah.
I've had that happen where there have been a few games where I've played in it and I was like, oh my god, this is fun, and then something happens, the group falls apart, and you're like sitting there going, son of a bitch, I want more.
Yeah.
Rainier.
Yeah, that's my big issue with my aquatic game. I want to really run my aquatic game one day.
We can get like halfway through it and then it just falls apart.
Like, we get to about, I want to say like 10 sessions in. Like 10 to maybe 20 sessions in. Hey, Kuda Nate, how's it going? And then it just falls apart.
Yep.
Something ends up happening and I lose players or something, and I just end up having to try to recover things, and it sucks.
Yeah, I hear ya. Just absolutely frustrating, and you know, you can't blame your players for having real lives. They can have illnesses, they can have family obligations. Some of them move away. Sometimes you have a GM who's running it who's just not well organized, so it's hard for them to get together a session. There's so many things that can just kill a campaign, and that's why whenever I have one that runs, you know, like a year, I'm like, I've achieved something. That is gold star for me. It ran a year. That's a good run so far.
Oh, definitely. For me, the longest campaign I've run was 2.5 years, I want to say, maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
Though the WAD game was a good run for the money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
one That one went almost 2 years, didn't it?
Yeah, that one almost went 2 years. It was like 1 year, like 11 months. It lasted a while. When did we start Rise of the Rune Lords? Ah. Shit, it's been a while.
Do not falter.
I'm not sure. It has been a while, though. I'd have to think on that.
I want to say my longest running campaign, at least recently, like since college, has been that Pathfinder game that ran 3 years. Now, this silly superheroes game technically has been around longer than that, but it's, like I said, it's one that I run, maybe once or twice a year. I'll tell you that it actually started during the Obama administration. So,
Oh my god.
it's been around a while, but I think we haven't had like 10 sessions yet.
Gamera's had a game that runs like once or twice a year that started during the Obama era.
Okay.
It's like, that's a long as shit game.
Yeah. And really, that one runs when I feel like I have a good idea. And like I said, when I don't have my full regular group, most of my group has a silly superhero to play in that. So it's like, oh, okay, we don't have everybody, but we still want to play. Let's play one of these. So it's a good substitute game.
It's a good, oh shit, we need something to play moment.
Yeah.
Now, the aquatic game, I've attempted to run it 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
2 with me.
2 with Anne, so three total. So 2 with Anne and once by myself. And all 3 times it's just never got to finish.
Yeah.
And oh my god, that drives me up a wall. Because I have a character I want to play in it. Because I want to finish his story too.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I make sure that his character is not the central character of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to verge into the deadly DMPC territory.
Yeah. He is a NPC that travels with the party for a long period of time, but he tends to be the drunken therapist of the party.
Okay.
He's a drunken master monk.
Nice.
And he's got, like, he's a half dragon as his race. So, absurdly high strength. But he's like, he tries not to kill anybody. He makes that a kind of a point. So he does usually subdual damage to intelligent foes.
Right.
So there is that. But he, like, I have fun playing him. And the last time I played him, like, the party really got into his whole, drunken therapist thing. Like, the dude was very much like, everybody was going to him with their problems and just to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Which was kind of neat. Because it gave all the players, like, that wonderful one-on-one time that they sometimes desire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be very long either. Like, most of the time it was only like a 10, 15 minute scene at most.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just great. I was like, this is what I want. Amazing.
Yeah, it's nice to have an NPC that the party can sort of bounce stuff off of.
Without giving them all the answers.
Without giving them all the answers, yes, that's very important.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I always try to tell people, it's like, make sure your NPCs don't do that. Scroll back in Discord, end of September 2020, so 19 months.
Nice.
Yeah, we've been doing it for 19 months. And we started with Cell.
This will hurt.
She was our party's cleric.
Mm.
And we lost her pretty early on. So I ended up taking on a lot of healing abilities on my witch.
Yeah.
I'm not great at it, but I'm decent.
Last game I played in had that confidable character. It was an awoken orangutan turned artificer. Oh my god, it's oh, what are they called from Warhammer? The little tech monkeys.
Who was hooked on this powder that raised his int. So, drug monkey. Got it.
Jokero, that's what I'm thinking of. The Jokero.
Speaking of weird races in D&D, so you know how Spelljammer's coming out?
Forwards.
You heard about that? Gamera?
Yes, can you not hear me?
I couldn't hear you for a second.
Okay.
Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, what the... My screen just went fucky-wucky for a second. Alright. So yeah, so you heard that Spelljammer's coming out.
Yes.
Alright. So do you remember Spelljammer of old?
Oh, yes.
Alright, so we all know Wizards has some issues with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that Spelljammer of old has several of those.
It has... Yeah, there are a couple of interesting things.
Like the hippos that are based off of the colonial British Empire.
The GIF, yes.
And, which is including both the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Because that could end badly.
There's also the Neogi slavers, which could be problematic. There's the life jammer helms that basically drain life force. That's pretty sinister, but they probably will leave those in.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's more of they're gonna... I feel like the GIF are gonna get the axe. Or get a major rewrite.
I think they'll get tweaked, but I don't think... It is not GIF. I will hurt you.
Blade, you're gonna die.
I will die on this hill. It is GIF.
I wanna live. Damn it.
The image file is GIF. Absolutely, you're 100% right there. But the hippos are GIF.
Yeah. Is it a GIF file? I thought it was called GIF file.
People have argued about this.
I know.
The creator of the format says GIF.
GIF. Okay, then I'll go with him.
A lot of people argue that it is GIF because the G stands for graphics, which starts with a G. And I have a detailed counter argument to that is probably not relevant to this stream. But yes. But suffice it to say, yes, the graphics file format is a GIF. The hippos are a GIF.
Yeah, it's GIFF.
GIFF.
Yeah, that's very much GIF. And they are not nice people. Like, really not nice. Like, oh my god. To 17.
Thank Jod.
Thank Jod we're not crazy world where the words have sounds.
No, I like I said, I have a whole rant about the graphics file format, but no, the other thing that I was thinking that they might tweak with the relaunch of Spelljammer is there was a race called the Scrow. Do you remember the Scrow?
That could be a problem.
Yeah, because the Scrow concept, for anyone who's not familiar, was basically Scrow is orcs spelled backwards, and the Scrow's concept was they're orcs, but they're smart, which I think has some unfortunate racial undertones. So yeah, the Skrull probably will be re-envisioned as just spacefaring orcs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's likely going to be the case. I don't see them keeping that. Oh, trust me, dude. What are you going?
Our path leads on.
Alright. I think I'm out of spells. No, not quite. I'm gonna grab YouTube. Yeah, that's ugh. But yeah, Spelljammer, I see some major rewrites in them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I think can come through just straight as it is. I did hear that they have gotten rid of the flammable phlogiston, the material between the crystal spheres that could spark and basically just cause enormous fireballs. It's not really to do with any sensitivity issue, I think. More so just it's, hey, what if players decided to exploit this? We better nerf it.
Yeah, let's not fuck with that. Because that's the last thing they need. I am glad to hear, though, they are bringing back the dwarves, though. And the way they originally were set up.
They're big flying stone ships.
Yep. With a mountain. If you ever see a big mountain with a face in space, run. Fly the other fucking direction. Yeah, because you don't want to be there. Like, at all. And if there's more than one, definitely flee the other direction as fast as your legs can carry you. Or your ship can fly. Because they will fuck you up. Good gods. It is a frightening thing.
Yeah, I have to say that Spelljammer was one of the more creative and interesting D&D settings, and I really enjoyed it back in the day. Fantastic to have something that acted as connective tissue between the different D&D campaign settings before Planescape was a thing.
Oh, yeah. Alright, let's see what's going on. Because it is the 9 o'clocks. So, let's get on me Twitch. I had the books for second 3. Never got to play Spelljammer. Oh, that sucks, man.
Yeah, you really missed something special there. I'm trying to think the other second edition campaign settings. Honestly, other than Planescape and Forgotten Realms, Spelljammer might have been my favorite.
Yeah, Planescape was okay. I liked it. It was not bad. It wasn't... It didn't really ring my bell, but it also wasn't, like, the big one. What are you streaming tomorrow? That is a good question. I could do RimWorld. I could bring that back. But I also did get my hands on a game called Dune Spice Wars. So I could do that. I can do either one. What are people's thoughts? And we have another silent moment from Gamera.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at something.
Okay.
Now, what kind of game is Dune Spice Wars? Is it like a strategy game, or?
It's real-time strategy, but
Okay.
it's slow real-time strategy.
So that's actually really interesting because back in the day, the RTS genre sort of kicked off with a Dune game.
Oh yeah. The Dune Spice Wars, by the way, is in early access. So there's a lot of things they're working on. But it is a work in progress. So I will say that, but it also, like, I've played it a little bit, and it can be entertaining, though it is complex as hell. Which fits Dune. Very much fits Dune. Because you can go for a victory, kind of like Civilization, where it's like domination, or you can go to elected victory, or there's several victories you can go for. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So it would be something different, or we could go back to what we were originally doing, which was RimWorld, with people being able to interact with the game.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the RimWorld thing, but a little variety never hurt anybody.
Yeah. I'm kind of sending feelers out, see what people think. Alright. I could always ask on my Discord, see what the results are on Discord.
Yeah.
Alright. So, the person we are going to be rating today is this person. So let me note that for later. With that, there we go. Okay, so I got the raid button start ready to go. Alright, if you are a subscriber, oh, son of a gun, I accidentally copied and pasted over the wrong thing. If you're a raid, god damn it, if you're a subscriber, please use the following message. If you are a follower, please use the following message. And we're going to be rating someone called Melissa in Denial. She's an Egyptologist. She's pretty knowledgeable at her subject. And she's playing something called Akio Shinar. So we're going to be... she does some cool stuff on her channel. Like, you can spend some channel points to get, like, an Egyptian tarot reading and stuff.
Cool.
Which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
With that being said, I will be back tomorrow for Wildcard Wednesdays. It'll either be Dune or RimWorld. It's going to be one of those two. Unless someone ends up spending channel points, but we'll find out. With that being said, you guys make sure you take care of yourselves, both mentally and physically. Remember that it's always time for tea. In this case, in my giant mug. And I will catch you guys all tomorrow. So, doodles.
Toodles.